Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the forecast for October 2024 for each life path number. This, of course, is a general forecast. If you would like your own personal numerology reading, please book some time with me. You can find my information in the description box below. Also, I want to mention that from here till the end of the year, the end of 2024, if you order a year ahead forecast in any of the readings where the year ahead forecast is included, I will throw in October, November, December of 2024, and you will also get the full year ahead for 2025. So normally it's just the 12 months ahead, but you're going to get some extra months if you book in 2024 for the year ahead forecast. The other thing I want to mention is I have opened up subscriptions to my website once more. If you're interested in getting news alerts and sort of having privy to the important information that you might miss here on YouTube or on my podcast, then I suggest just hopping on over to my website. Just give me your email address through subscribing, and I can share that information with you as things come up. I won't bombard you. I have respect for your time and your inbox, but I do have some big announcements coming in 2025, so you want to be sure you don't miss those. All right, I think that does it for the housekeeping. Let's get into the forecast. Life Path 22-4. So we are going to be working with the vibration of the 44, the 404 for October. So ultimately our own energy of the 4, but then also the influencing energy of the 40. This can be a really powerful, strong financial period where we could see a lot of stability and security come through from what we have built and what we've sort of invested in. So we could kind of see a return of that investment this month. It's very possible. Or something could come in where we're finally getting that green light that will help us to build what it is that we've been wanting to build in order to have that greater stability and security. And we could absolutely see financial success from that. It's very possible. The other thing I would say is check your outlook on life at this time. Be really careful about negative, overly rigid, cynical, sort of vibrations, right? Like, are you stuck in, seeing others or seeing yourself or seeing a project, with that very negative, cynical outlook? Or are you overly rigid when it comes to how it has to be done or what it needs to look like or who's going to be a part of it and et cetera, et cetera. That kind of control aspect that can come in a lot of times with 4 energy. Just be mindful of that you're not being too controlling, that you're not being too overly rigid, that you are kind of thinking outside the box, playing outside of the realm of possibilities type of thing, playing in your imagination, etc., and not becoming too rigid or negative or cynical when things don't go exactly as planned. Because when in life do things go exactly as planned? And so just be really mindful of that. And I would also say, where is it that you can, what can you do to kind of tap back into the optimism? Or, where is it that you can tap back into the motivation to remain steadfast in whatever it is that you're committed to and working towards if your heart's in it? Because, when we become too cynical or too negative about something, it can be easy to get overwhelmed, to give up, to feel like we don't deserve whatever, all of the negativity can kind of come in and on loop. And so, the biggest killjoy for a 4 and a 22-4, of course, is frustration. So if there is an area where you feel overly frustrated this month, that is what you need to tackle. You need to get to the bottom of that. Because that's what's holding you up. That's what's going to keep you from moving forward. It doesn't, just because a project or a relationship or something goes south or doesn't go as expected, does not mean that it was a failure. It does not mean that it's not going to work out or that it didn't work out. Just means that it's looking different than what we had wanted or expected or required it to look like, right? And so we just have to be adaptable and kind of move with the punches and figure it out as we go. And the more that we can do that, the more that we can kind of tap into that more like optimistic, positive type of energy and see the potential of the situation as opposed to being negative and cynical over, what didn't work out and our frustration over that process. The more that we can tap into that hope and optimism and what we can do in the situation, where we can channel our energy, that's where we're going to get the most out of it. I would say definitely be mindful of, letting the fears or the self-doubt sabotage what you are building in life, right? Don't let those, that inner voice that's telling you can't do it or it's too big or why you, all these things that nasty little self-talker, work at reframing that conversation. Because again, the frustration, the self-doubt, the, self-sabotage are the things that are going to keep giving you the red lights, are going to keep bringing those, extraordinary challenges that, we can get really frustrated and overwhelmed by. So definitely where you can channel that energy into something so that you can feel like you're making a difference and you can start to see the progress. That's what I would say with when, those fears come up, the self-doubt comes up, the negativity, find a way to channel that energy and just, surprise yourself by saying yes in the face of that adversity. Like, you're a 22/4, so I know you do that anyway. But sometimes when we get, frustrated and overwhelmed by the situation or by the constant red lights, it can be easier to fall into that frustration or that victim mentality rather than, picking ourselves up and being like, all right, let's just say yes, let's move forward, let's make it happen, right? And this would be a month to do that, to especially when it comes to what we feed ourselves as far as like the inner chatter. This is a great month to get that under control. If we want to control something, control the inner chatter, right? We can't control what comes in with our thoughts, but we can certainly control what we feed into and what we take action on. Our thoughts drive our actions, and we get to choose which thoughts we choose to take action with. So if we're constantly feeding into that negativity and that cynicism, then that's going to be what kind of actions we take. And that's going to be the experiences that we have. But if we can honor those thoughts when they come in, but don't pay any more attention than that, don't feed into them, rather reframe it and then, move in that direction, then that's what we're feeding. And that's, those are the actions we're going to take. And that's the experience we're going to have. So it's just an opportunity for maybe some reframing, some reworking, some kind of clearing out the weeds. And by weeds, I just mean those negative self-chatter. This is a great month for that. Also a great month for trying something new. New adventures, new opportunities. Think big. If you might be thinking too small. So think big. And when the opportunities come in, if you feel that self-doubt, that means you're thinking too small. So reframe it and say yes to whatever it is and just see where it takes you. This is such a great month for saying yes when it feels way outside your comfort zone and taking that leap of faith and taking that risk. It can be really hard for 22/4s to take risks sometimes. And this is a great month for taking risks. Calculated risks if that makes you feel more comfortable, but definitely an opportunity to take big risks this month. And don't let the negative self-talk get in the way. Don't create the red lights where there don't need to be any, because life gives us enough red lights. So don't make your own. You know what I mean? So this is a beautiful month for moving forward. And again, can be very, very, financially fulfilling, just successful, etc. We just got to get out of our own way and sometimes out of our own head. It's interesting because I pulled the animal spirit message and we got moth energy. So it's interesting. This immediately brings up something around endings. And what I immediately tie this with is endings of that negativity and endings of that negative self-talk, right? Like, are we going to completely eradicate it? No, because we're humans and, we can't control the thoughts that come in, but we can put an end to saying yes to those thoughts, to believing them, to giving our energy to them, and to letting those drive our actions. And so I really do feel like this is an opportunity for us to face any fears that we may have around bigger commitments, around bigger opportunities, and take the leap of faith and dive in and open the door to a new beginning that has the potential to allow us to think so much bigger about what we're capable of. So love this for us, 22 fours. Hope it's a great one. Take care. Bye for now.